how to start reading books if you are a gamer, if you are playing video games, if you are stimulating yourself all the time, your attention span is low as fuck, and so on. I was in this situation too, maybe a bit more years ago, when I first found self-improvement videos. And at the time I was obsessed with this fiction universe called Warhammer 40,000. I don't know if you've heard about it, but it's kind of, it was my obsession. I was obsessed with it, and I was playing games, I was watching videos, I was reading articles about this fiction stuff, you know. And it's actually a board game, a tabletop game, where you create your own army, where you buy expensive as fuck plastic figures and you paint them like they're that small. I have actually some of them initially. I have left some of this. I sold most of them, but like these little figures, you paint them, it's basically gray plastic and you need to assemble, you need to kind of collect this into a figure, because it's all the pieces are like in a box. So yeah, and you collect this army and you have an army of like these minifigures, and you battle against other like players in real life. It's kind of interesting thing. It was obsession of mine for maybe 3 or 4 years. Yeah, and there are actually lore to this thing. So there are books, there are articles, there are videos, there are video games, and so on. So when I was playing video games like 2 years ago, when I was still playing video games, when I was fucking like multiple times a day and so on, when I was sleep deprived, I still managed to grab a book. Like maybe I will edit this video a bit and I will show you on the screen these books that I read. So maybe you're interested in this universe too, or maybe you just wanna, you know. Anyway, I grabbed the book before going to bed and I read, and I even stayed up late reading, just like my parents and grandparents. They told me stories like they were not sleeping and reading all night. That was me, but in addition, I was playing video games and I was living modern, comfortable, destructive lifestyle, degenerating myself every day. But I was kind of degenerating myself every day, but still reading, so you know. And yeah, I read fiction books. I read this Warhammer 40,000 books, and I was really obsessed. This was my obsession, and this thing helped me get into reading for a year or so, maybe more. And even like last summer, you know, summer of 2022, I was still reading these books, because I kind of get to this level when I no longer procrastinate like watching YouTube videos or playing video games, but I procrastinated reading fiction books. You can understand that it is it is better than wasting your time. I like read books, I improved my vocabulary or whatever. Yeah. And I have this analogy in my mind that it's like an enchantment table in Minecraft. You know, you craft this thing, you place it, and you open it, the table, and you have these strange symbols that you can't understand. There's like this cosmic or universe alphabet or whatever it is, and you can't understand sometimes the enchantments that you want to get to your tool, to your sword or to your axe, whatever. So you can't understand what is written because your level is not high enough. So your level is not high enough, so you can't understand what is written, what enchantments you would get if you enchanted the tool. And the same thing here. Your level of attention, your level of discipline, your level of literacy or whatever, maybe you some people can't even read these days because their level of attention and focus is so low. So the same may be with you. Your level of attention is fucked up. You start reading something and in a minute or so your mind wanders thinking about video games or thinking about something else. So you're reading, but you're not reading. You do not follow along the words. You do not understand what was. So you end a paragraph and you need to reread it one more time because you were not mindful about this task. So why I recommend you to read fiction, to find maybe some, I don't know, this video games book. There are books about certain video games, but that's kind of cringe and strange to me. But I was reading this Warhammer 40,000 books, and they are like, there are this interesting plot and this like epic novels, and now we need to improve your level, your meta skill of attention, your meta skill of focusing. So you just sit, you grab a book of fiction. It can be whatever fiction you want to read. It can be like some classical novel, but classical novels are kind of for high intelligent people because there are some philosophical thoughts there that that is hard to understand. So you grab a piece of fiction and you just try to like really read it. You try to understand the story, the plot, the universe, the characters or whatever. Yeah, and you just do this every day, even if you're playing before bed. Reading fiction before bed is a kind of positive and useful hobby, or not a hobby but habit, because you kind of winding down and you just get these thoughts about this plot, about this fiction characters, and you kind of thinking about them while you're falling asleep, and it sometimes helps you to fall asleep faster. So yeah, you need to grab a book, a fiction book. Of course you need to grab a fiction book and you need to just read it before bed for 5 minutes. Maybe you are so interested in this book that you will read it for like an hour straight. You will be able to read it for an hour or two, or like even more straight. Yeah. Of course you can find self-improvement books that you're interested in, but I mean, it's another level, Of course you can start here and you maybe will succeed in reading self-improvement books, but yeah, you can start, but the thing is, you will probably read them and you will understand what is written, and you will understand the advice that is given in these books, but you will not implement it into your life. You will not take action, and that is actually a normal thing. So you just learn from this. You can actually do this, okay? You can learn from these books. You can kind of accumulate the knowledges, save some knowledges, increasing your level of attention, increasing your level of focusing, increasing your level of your ability of sitting still. Okay, and eventually you will probably some of the thoughts from the self-improvement books will stuck in your mind, and you will like implement them into your life, or you will eventually reread these books and it will be maybe second reading or third reading or whatever. It will be eye-opening, and rereading some books is a useful practice. But I really highly recommend you to start with fiction, okay? Because that's where I started. That's what actually helped me, because this was maybe the only practice that I was doing, that I'm still doing, and that I started doing when I was a gamer, when I was a porn addict, when I was sleep deprived, when I ate shitty food or whatever. Just find an interesting fiction book you can start with where I started, but like with Warhammer books. But yeah, 11 minutes in. Okay, so yeah, that's the advice I wanna give you today. I hope it helped you. I hope you will try. Yeah, I hope you will find. Maybe you will start with these books. I hope I didn't forget to add them and to edit them. Maybe I will show you one more time here. So these books with which I started, this Warhammer 40,000, Warhammer 30,000 series, they're kind of interesting, and yeah, reading fiction books, it's not, it's a good place to start your self-improvement in general, and it's not that bad as some people say, that like it's a waste of time or whatever. You actually like improving your vocabulary. I achieved this kind of, no, I'm not saying that I'm perfect in English. English is not my mother language, but I achieved this kind of fluency by reading fiction books in English. Just by reading fiction books in English. And I achieved this level of vocabulary, whatever my level, whatever my level of vocabulary is. But I achieved it through reading fiction books in English. And the same can be in your mother language, in your native language. You can read books in your native language and improve your speech in general. And improving your speech is improving your social skills, and that is another like think of it's another, what's the word, sphere, another thing of self-improvement. Okay, so that is it. That's what I wanted to say. Thank you for watching. Yeah.